Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm Sarah from the upcoming. So lovely to meet you virtually.
Hi, nice to
Um,
meet you.
um, maybe we can kick off, maybe you could give us a brief introduction, if that's possible, to what do we see when we look at the sky? Very difficult one, I think, to describe succinctly, but maybe you can give us a bit of a glimpse, for people who don't know anything about the film.
Yeah, it's as you say, it's not easy because there are it's really hard because if you say one thing, then you don't say the other one.
Mm.
And as the film is constructed, we tried to say that everything what is there is important. But still, I can say that it is maybe we can say it is a modern fairy tale. A love story with two people with curse while football World Cup is running, and what else? I think that's it. Not the best introduction. I mean, I'm not the best while pitching.
And kind of bearing that in mind, that it's kind of got all these different elements to it, if you like. Kind of there's the sort of folk fairy tale aspect, there's a bit of magic realism, but it's often presented in a kind of self-conscious, quite sort of witty comedic way. And then a lot of sort of digressions, which are just sort of showing beauty, if you like, in the mundane, in the everyday. Where did you get your inspiration for the story, and what were you trying to achieve by bringing all these different elements together?
Yeah, it all started with this more or less simple idea that people wake up with different looks, and because I wanted to make a fairy tale, and then this was one of the concepts I had in mind. And the idea was to keep it as simple as it is, to make a very simple film which plays on few places, and we see these places and these people and their story. But then we came to the city of Kutaisi, and we understood, okay, it will be hard to stay at one place because there are many places we want to have in our film, and there are many people we want to have in our film. And there are many dogs we want to have in our film, and many streets. So it started to grow, and we spent almost a year there while preparing the film. And every day things were changing and coming, and the thing was growing and growing. At some point, I had to say, okay, now stop, because otherwise it will be like it can become a series. So enough. But yeah, because this place was offering and giving us so much. And we also kind of came there with open hearts to receive. So yeah.
And talk me through, your central cast. Obviously, you kind of had two sets of actors playing your key characters. So how did you land on those particular actor and actresses?
From the beginning, there was only one, like the male leading actor. I knew that he was the one who would play, because he's my good friend, a good actor, and it's easy for me to work with him, and I know he will do it good. So it was a starting point, and I knew I have to build kind of around him. And the rest, yeah, we were just very lucky, because these people are very different. None of them, at least the main cast, like these two girls, two boys, from them, like the guy is not an actor. He's actually like arm wrestling European champion and World Cup medalist. So when he came, we had like not really casting, but like a few days when we were just inviting everyone to come by, and it was very interesting to see someone like this interested, like a professional arm wrestler to want to be part something like this. And pretty from the beginning, it was clear for me he would be able to do it, because it's someone with he has complete control of his body. So if you tell him do this, this, and this, he's doing it without any problems. And with girls, it was different. The first one, someone called us and said, "Watch TV. There is a young girl on some TV show." And well, I was with my cameraman, with producer, and when we saw her, we were like, "Wow, okay, this, we want her to be in our film." It was like like a show where kids graduates from school participate, who read more books or stuff like this. And from this moment, we knew it has to be her, and she was great. And then the leading actress, it was a very long looking for her, because nobody knew what kind of, how she has to be. Like, actually anyone, what happens to her can happen to anyone. So yeah, it was just, but we knew we want to have her. The best way it would be to have her from this town where we shot. So she came also to one of these meetings, and from the beginning I was not so sure, and then I thought, okay, maybe I have to film her. And when I saw her in the camera, it was also in the moment pretty clear that she will do it, because yeah, I don't know, I've never seen something like this, that someone is that much made for the camera. Someone who has never acted can just spend hours in front of camera without being nervous. It's special talent. You can interrupt me if I talk too much.
Oh no, not at all. No. And thinking about the kind of the look and feel of the film, you know, in some respects it feels like it's like ultra realistic, like, you know, we're just watching people go about their lives. But then there's also an element of it that it's very stylized, and you know, there's lots of interesting things that you've done with color, and like shooting on 16mm and things like that. So talk us through a little bit about the way you filmed it and why you wanted to do it that way.
Yeah, it's I think it's the way the whole thing also is constructed, that we try to mix many things together, like a fairy tale in everyday life, very constructed things, and very realistic surfaces. And it also has an impact, or also with music, like very romantic music, and then some electronic things, which and then some 90s stuff, which I think if some of the things were alone there, would be maybe strange, but they are kind of also balancing each other. And also there are many things, like when you, at least there are so many things I want to try out. And then when I start to make a film, it's really hard to go only one way, because there are so many things which you want to try. I don't know, it has something unmature, I think, that you just do anything you want, and don't care about the style, or like this wholeness. But yeah, that's on one hand it's fun. On the other hand, I think still I saw also with my last film, somehow it can work together.
And you know, in that sense of it being kind of playful or experimental, if you like, why do you think it might be important in cinema for people to still keep experimenting with different styles and playing with what you can do on screen? And do you take inspiration from any other specific directors or other films when you're thinking of putting your film together?
I think I really love like very serious films. But even there, if you watch it closely, often they are funny, or there is a humor and sometimes even some games or gags. I think not always, but often. Um, and for me, I even also like in a way of working, we were saying, let's not forget that it's a game. Uh, it's a game we play, and we can fight, we can, I don't know, everything can happen, but still it has to be somehow fun for us, and also, but it's important that for people who watch it, that it's yeah, that it's a game. Like not always. Like sometimes I know sometimes there are moments which are confusing, and sometimes you maybe have to think more and be more active. But sometimes uh, I want to make a game, but not a mind game, but like a real game where we have fun.
Mm.
Because I think that's how cinema started, more or less, and so it will be always there, and it's also, I think, where many things in our film come from very beginnings of the thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And would you cite particular directors or films that, you know, inspired you along your way?
Oof, pretty much. We were looking many things, but I think there are a few things. Like there is Peola, a short Georgian film, um, which we were looking pretty often. It's about football. Um, I was watching pretty much Nanni Moretti, and also picking some ideas and some rhythm or ideas from his films. Um, Also, I studied together with I don't know if you've seen Bloodsuckers in Encounters by Julian Radlmeier, but it's a filmmaker who one of the filmmakers, one of the modern young filmmakers who impressed me, and where I learn a lot, and where I also pick often some things from.
And thinking about maybe some of the themes that come out of the film, you know, as we said, like in lots of ways, this is about kind of finding the poetry in everyday images, but it's maybe also quite a lot about like the process of falling in love. So what do you think might be kind of some of the overarching themes that come out, or what might you want people to take away from watching it?
Hard to say. I think yeah. Well, what we were thinking while doing it was that on one hand we want somehow to to make um, to make people emotional, but in a good way,
Mm.
in a way that 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 you get emotions to some small things, that to small stories, to that you get more attention to some objects, and also to some things which you maybe didn't believe before, but also I don't know if it works, but I tried um, to speak about our modern problems, and to yeah, it's very hard because I myself in an everyday life feel really hopeless about things going on around us. So it's strange to wanting to give others hope, because it's a bit absurd. So I think through making this film, we also tried to give some hope to ourselves, and then also to some others. Although I don't know if it has a ground, I don't see it, but there is also no other way of living.
Do you think it's interesting to be making a film and putting a film like that out when we are in the midst of this pandemic? I mean, I guess there's a light at the end of the tunnel now with the vaccine rollout and things like that, but perhaps finding that hope when it's been a really difficult year for a lot of people, not having that everyday life that they're used to, or that interaction with people. So do you think there's something interesting about putting that kind of film out right now?
Yeah, when I was editing it, it was like the first wave time, and it was the time when I was sure, okay, in 2 months it's over. Yeah, I think at some point the pandemics will be over, and we'll be in a position where we were before, which is even harder.
And what does it mean to you to have the film showing as a part of Berlin Film Festival? And, you know, obviously can't be there in person, but hopefully there'll be some screenings, you know, physically in June. So what does it mean to you to be part of this festival right now?
It's great. It's a way that the film is seen. The worst what can happen, I think, with the film, that it's not seen. And through Berlinale, even in this crazy times, apparently it's possible that people watch it. So it's really relieving that every day I get some messages and I think, wow, it's really seen. So it's great.
All right, fantastic. Well, thanks so much for speaking with me about the film, and yeah, for this fantastic, you know, wonderful journey that the film takes you on. I love it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.